Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Akash Patil. Today we are going to discuss the mandible bone. Mandible bone. It is a U-shaped bone and it forms the skeleton of the lower jaw. Mandible has body, two rami. Now let us see the body. It is shaped like horseshoe. It has two surfaces, external surface and internal surface. Two borders, upper border and lower border. Now let us see the external surface. It shows the symphysis mentae. This is the symphysis mentae. It is a faint ridge on the upper part of the midline indicating the fusion of two halves of the mandible. Mental protuberance. It is a triangular area on the lower part of the midline. Mental foramen. This is the mental foramen. It is located below the second premolar and it transmits the mental nerve and vessels. Oblique line. It is a continuation of the anterior border of rambus on the external surface of the body. It is a faint ridge. It runs downwards and forwards to reach mental tubercle. Now let us see the internal surface. Mylohyoid line. It is an oblique ridge. It extends downwards and forwards from behind the third molar tooth to the near the lower border between the digastric fossa. This is the mylohyoid line. Mylohyoid muscle is attached to it. Submandibular fossa. It is present below the posterior part of the mylohyoid muscle. It lodges submandibular salivary gland, the facial artery and the submandibular lymph node. Sublingual fossa. It is an area above the anterior part of the mylohyoid line. This is the anterior part of the mylohyoid, which is a sublingual fossa. It lodges sublingual salivary gland. Genial tubercles. These are the irregular elevations on either side of the midline, just above the anterior end of the mylohyoid lines. Upper genial tubercle provides attachment to genioglossus muscle, while the lower genial tubercle provides attachment to genohyoid muscle. Attachment of superior constrictor muscle of the pharynx. It originates from the area above the posterior end of the mylohyoid line. This is the site where superior constrictor muscle originates. Lingual nerve is related to mandible between the origin of superior constrictor muscle and mylohyoid line. So this is all about the body. Now let us see the upper border of the body. Upper border, it is also called the alveolar part of the mandible. It is hollowed out by the 16 sockets for the roots of the permanent teeth. Now the lower border, also called the base of the mandible. Here there is a digastric fossa. This is the digastric fossa, which is a depression on each side of the midline. It receives the attachment for anterior belly of digastric. Investing layer of deep cervical fascia is attached to the whole length of base, and platysma is inserted to the lower border near the outer surface. So three structures originates in the base of the mandible, that is the anterior belly of digastric, investing layer of deep cervical fascia and the platysma. Now let us see the ramus of mandible. This is the ramus of mandible, which has two surfaces, lateral surface, medial surface, four borders, upper border, lower border, posterior border and anterior border. Two processes, coronite process and condylar process. Now let us begin with the surfaces, that is first lateral surface. A small posterior superior area related to the parotid gland. This area is related to the parotid gland. Remaining major area provides attachment to the masseter muscle. Medial surface. You can see the mandibular foramen. This is the mandibular foramen which leads to the mandibular canal, which curves downwards, forwards into the body to open on the external surface at the mental foramen, which opens on the external surface at the mental foramen. Inferior alveolar nerve and vessels enter the mandibular canal through the mandibular foramen. Lingula. It is a tongue-shaped projection near the anterior margin of mandibular foramen. Spinomandibular ligament is attached to the lingula. Mylohyoid group. It begins at the lower end of the mandibular foramen to reach the inner surface of the body behind the lingula and continues downwards and forwards to reach the inner surface of body. Mylohyoid nerve and vessels occupy the mylohyoid groove. Medial surface of ramus. Between the mylohyoid groove and the angle of mandible is marked by ridges. This area is meant for the attachment of medial pterygoid muscle. This area is meant for the attachment of medial pterygoid muscle. Now the borders. Upper border. It is thin and it forms the mandibular notch. This one is the mandibular notch. Masseter nerve and vessels cross the mandibular notch. Lower border. It is backwards continuation of the base of the mandible. It meets at the posterior border of ramus to form the angle of mandible. Anterior border. It is the continuation above with the coronite process and below with the alveolar border of the body. Temporalis muscle is inserted to this border and adjoining medial surface. Posterior border. It is continuous above with the condylar process. This one is condylar process. It is meant, it meets with lower border to form the angle of mandible. It is related to parotid gland. Now the processes. This is coronite process. It is triangular upward projection from the anterior superior part of the ramus. Its anterior border is continuous with anterior border of ramus and posterior border bounds mandibular notch. Temporalis muscle gets inserted to the medial surface, apex and its margins. Now condylar process. It is the upward projection from the posterior superior part of the ramus. It consists of upper part, that is the head, and the lower part, that is the neck. Head is the side to side expanded part of the condylar process. It articulates with the temporal bone to form the temporomandibular joint. Neck is the constricted part. This one is the neck below the head. It provides attachment to the capsule in its upper part. The lateral ligament of temporomandibular joint is attached to the lateral part. Pterygoid fovea. This one is the pterygoid fovea, which is a depression on its anterior aspect. Lateral pterygoid muscle is inserted in the fovea. Lateral pterygoid muscle is inserted in this pterygoid fovea. Medially, the neck is related to auriculotemporal nerve above and maxillary artery below. Now going to see the ossification of mandible. The mandible is second bone next to the clavicle to ossify in the body. Its greater part ossifies in membrane and the other parts ossify in cartilage, include incisive part below the incisor, teeth, the coronoid and condylar process, and the upper half of the ramus above the level of mandibular foramen. Each half of the mandible ossifies from only one center, which appears at about 6th week of intrauterine life in the mesenchymal sheath of Meckel's cartilage, which is derivative of first pharyngeal arch. At the birth, the mandible consists of two halves which are connected at symphysis mentae by fibrous tissue. The bony union takes place during the first year of the life. During the first year of the life, the bony union takes place. Now, let us see the age changes in the mandible. In the old age, the mandible, there is a loss of teeth, alveolar part of the part is absorbed, angle of mandible measures about 140 degree. The neck of mandible is bent backwards, making the level of coronate process a little higher than the condylar process. The mandibular canal and the mental foramen are close to the upper border of the body in adults, whereas in children they are close to the lower border of the body. Now let us see the relation of the facial artery to the mandible. The facial artery, it loops forwards and downwards between the submandibular fossa and the gland, and then winds around the lower border of the mandible. It winds around the lower body of the mandible at anterior inferior angle of masseter, then appears tortuously upwards and forwards in the face. Now let us see the relation of glands in relation to the mandible. Parotid gland. Parotid gland curls around the posterior border and overlaps the adjoining posterior-superior part of lateral and medial surface of ramus of mandible. Superficial part of the submandibular gland lodges in submandibular fossa, whereas the sublingual gland lodges in sublingual fossa. Now let us see the applied anatomy. The mandible is commonly fractured at canine socket. This is the canine socket where it is weak. The next common fracture of the mandible occurs at the angle of the mandible. So this is all about the mandible. Hope you have understood. Thank you.